Commander Vera stood near the large window of Orbital Station Nexus 7. She watched the stars move slowly past the thick glass. Her black scales caught the light and made her body shine like polished stone. She was tall, very tall, almost 7 ft. Her muscles moved under her scales like coiled rope. Her yellow eyes never blinked. She had killed many enemies in her life. She had fought in wars across 43 star systems. The Kilthan Empire had never lost a battle because of warriors like her. They were born to fight. They were made to win. Today was supposed to be a simple day, a boring day. The humans were coming to talk about peace. Vera did not care about peace. She cared about strength, and from what she had heard, humans had no strength at all. The door behind her opened with a soft hiss. Her second in command, a younger Kethan named Tak, walked in quickly. "Commander," he said, "the human ship has docked. They are walking to the meeting chamber now." Vera turned slowly. "How many?" "5. 1 ambassador, 3 advisors, 1 security officer." "Security?" Vera let out a low laugh. It sounded like rocks grinding together. What could a human possibly protect anyone from? Tak did not answer. He knew better than to speak when the commander was amused. Vera walked past him and into the wide hallway. Other aliens moved out of her way. They always did. A small group of traders from the Melvic system pressed themselves against the wall as she passed. A tall insect-like creature from the hollow worlds lowered its head in respect. This was the natural order of things. The strong walked freely. Weak moved aside. The meeting chamber was large and round. A long table sat in the middle with chairs for both groups. Vera did not sit. She stood near the wall with her arms crossed over her chest. She wanted to see these humans up close. The door opened again, and they walked in. Vera felt her lip curl in disgust. They were small, soft. Their skin looked like it would tear if you touched it too hard. They had no claws, no scales, no armor on their bodies at all. They wore simple clothes made of cloth. Their teeth were flat and dull. The ambassador was a woman with brown skin and black hair pulled back tight. Her name was Rachel Torres. She smiled politely at everyone in the room. She moved with confidence, but Vera could see no real power in her. Behind her walked 3 advisors. They carried computers and files. They looked nervous, weak. And then there was the last one. He walked in quietly. He was not tall, not short, just average. He had light brown skin, short black hair, and dark eyes that looked tired. His name was Jake Miller. He was the security officer. Vera watched him carefully. There was something different about this one. He did not look around the room with fear like the others. He did not smile to be polite. He simply walked in, found a spot near the wall, and stood there. His hands were relaxed at his sides. His breathing was slow and steady. He looked like a man who had seen many things, hard things, and had learned to stay calm through all of them. Vera found this interesting but not impressive. Calmness meant nothing without power. The meeting began. Ambassador Torres spoke about trade, about sharing technology, about working together for the good of all species. Vera barely listened. These words were empty to her. After an hour she grew tired of waiting. "Enough," Vera said loudly. The room went silent. Ambassador Torres stopped mid-sentence and looked at her. "You speak of peace," Vera continued. "You speak of friendship and cooperation. But you have not earned the right to speak to us as equals, Torres kept her voice calm. Commander, we are here in good faith. We want to build a relationship based on mutual respect. Very stepped forward, her heavy boots made the floor shake slightly. Respect is earned through strength. Your kind has no strength. You are soft. You are slow. You have no natural weapons. In the wild you would be prey. The room was very quiet now. The other aliens watched with wide eyes. This was not how diplomatic meetings were supposed to go. Torres took a breath. Physical strength is not the only kind of strength. Commander, Vera laughed again. That grinding terrible sound. Then prove it. She said, I challenge your strongest warrior to a duel, single combat, no weapons restrictions, if your kind wishes to be taken seriously in this galaxy. Show me that you deserve respect. Torres shook her head quickly. That is not necessary. We did not come here to fight. Then you admit you are weak. I admit nothing. I simply believe there are better ways to resolve differences than violence. Vera smiled. It was not a friendly smile in my culture. Refusing a challenge is the same as accepting defeat. If you refuse, your entire species will be marked as cowards. No one in the galaxy will trade with you. No one will ally with you. You will be alone. The room was silent. Torres looked at her advisors. They looked back at her with pale faces. Then a voice spoke from the side of the room. Sure. Everyone turned. Jake Miller stepped forward. He was still holding a cup of coffee in one hand. His face showed no fear, no excitement, just calm acceptance. I said sure, he repeated. I will fight you. Vera stared at him. This small soft creature was volunteering to face her. You, she asked me, do you understand what you are agreeing to? This is a duel to submission or death. There are no rules, no mercy. Jake took a sip of his coffee. I understand. Vera felt something she had not felt in a long time, curiosity. What is your name? Human. Jake Miller. Jake Miller, she repeated slowly. You are either very brave or very stupid. Jake shrugged. Probably both. Very. Turned to the rest of the room. The challenge has been accepted. Tomorrow in the central arena, this human will face me in single combat. Spread the word to all sectors. Let everyone see what happens when humans try to stand among the strong. She looked back at Jake one more time. He was still drinking his coffee. Rest well tonight, Jake Miller, she said. It will be your last peaceful sleep. Jake nodded politely. Thanks for the advice. And then he walked back to his spot by the wall, as if nothing important had happened at all. The news spread fast. By morning, every corner of the galaxy had heard about the duel. A Kethan commander, the greatest warrior of her generation, would fight a human. Most species laughed when they heard it. Humans were known for many things. They were clever. They were curious. They built interesting machines, but they were not known for fighting. The central arena of Nexus 7 was built for moments like this. It was a massive circular room with high walls and seats that rose up like a mountain on all sides. Thousands of aliens came to watch. They flew in from nearby stations and planets. They wanted to see history. Seats filled quickly. Creatures of all shapes and sizes pushed against each other to get a better view. There were tall, thin beings with forearms. There were short, round creatures covered in blue fur. There were things that looked like floating clouds of light. All of Them had come to see the human lose. Vera stood in a preparation room. Beneath the arena, Torek helped her put on her ceremonial armor. It was black and gold, made from the strongest metal. In the Kethan Empire, it covered her chest, her arms, and her legs. It left her joints free so she could move fast. In her hand she held a plasma blade. It was a beautiful weapon. The handle was carved from bone. The blade itself was made of pure energy that burned hot, enough to cut through steel. The human has arrived, Talk said. He is in the other preparation room. What weapon did he choose? Talk looked uncomfortable. A small knife. Commander, that is all. Vera turned sharply. A knife, nothing else. Nothing else. He refused armor as well. Vera did not understand. Was this human trying to insult her? Did he think so little of this duel that he would not even prepare properly? Perhaps he has a plan, Torek offered. Perhaps he is a fool. The horn sounded above them. It was time. Vera walked up the tunnel and into the bright lights of the arena. The crowd screamed and cheered. They chanted her name. They stamped their feet until the walls shook. She raised her plasma blade high, and the cheering grew even louder. She looked across the arena floor and waited. The opposite door opened. Jake Miller walked out. Crowd went quiet. Then they started laughing. Jake wore his normal uniform. Dark pants, a simple jacket, boots that looked old and worn. On his belt there was a small utility knife. That was all. No armor, no shield, no special weapon. He walked to the center of the arena. With his hands in his pockets, the laughter continued. Some aliens pointed at him, others shook their heads in pity. A few started to leave, thinking the fight would be over in seconds. Vera walked forward until she stood 10 ft away from him. Up close, the difference between them was even more clear. She was a mountain of muscle and armor. He was just a man. You insult me, she growled. Her voice carried across the silent arena. Where is your weapon? Your protection? Jake pulled his hands from his pockets and stretched his arms above his head. His shoulders popped quietly. This is fine, he said. You will die, maybe. Vera felt anger rise in her chest. This human was not afraid. He should be afraid. Every creature in the galaxy was afraid of her. I will make this quick, she said, out of mercy. Jake smiled slightly. Take your time. The horn sounded again. The duel had begun. Very moved. She moved faster than any creature Jake had ever seen. One moment she was standing still. The next moment she was right in front of him, her plasma blade cutting through the air toward his neck. But Jake was not there. He had stepped to the side. Not far, just enough. The blade passed through empty air. Vera spun and attacked again. A low sweep toward his legs. Jake stepped back. The blade missed. She struck again and again. Each attack was faster than the last. Each attack was meant to kill, but every time Jake simply moved. He did not run. He did not panic. He just shifted his weight and stepped away at the last moment. His movements were small and calm. His breathing stayed slow. The crowd stopped laughing. They leaned forward in their seats. Vera felt her first touch of confusion. How was he doing this? He was not faster than her. She could see that clearly, but somehow he always knew where her blade would be. Stand still and fight, she roared. I am fighting, Jake said. She attacked with both hands, a powerful overhead strike that would have split him in two. Jake stepped to the left. The blade hit the floor and left a glowing line in the Metal, you are running, very snapped. This is not combat. This is cowardice. Jake circled slowly, keeping his eyes on her. In my culture, this is combat. Moving is fighting, watching is fighting, waiting is fighting, then hit. Me strike back, not yet, Vera screamed. In frustration, she threw herself at him. With everything she had, her blade moved. So fast it was almost invisible. She attacked high-low from the left, from the right. Jake moved through her. Attacks like water flowing around rocks. He bent, he twisted, he stepped, and he never stopped watching her. 5 minutes passed, then 10. The crowd was completely silent now. No one had ever seen anything like this. Akilan, commander, the finest warrior in the Empire, could not hit a single human. Vera stopped. Her chest was moving up and down heavily. Her muscles burned. Sweat was starting to form under her scales. Jake stood a few feet away. He was breathing a little faster, but his body looked relaxed. His knife was still in his belt. He had not even touched it. What are you doing? Vera demanded. Jake tilted his head slightly. Watching. Watching for what? Jake did not answer. He just kept circling, kept breathing, kept watching, and Vera felt something she had not felt since she was a child. She felt doubt. 20 minutes had passed since the duel began. The arena was so quiet that you could hear the soft hum of the lights above. Every creature watched with wide eyes. Every breath was held. Vera was tired. She had never been tired like this in her life. Her people were built for fast, powerful attacks. They could kill most enemies in seconds. Their muscles were designed to explode with strength and then rest. They were not designed for this. This human would not stop moving. Every time she attacked, he slipped away. Every time she chased him, he was already somewhere else. He never ran. He never looked scared. He just kept moving in that slow, steady way around and around the arena floor, always watching, always breathing. Very arms felt like they were filled with sand. Her legs shook when she walked. Her plasma blade, which had always felt light in her hand, now felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. She attacked. Again, a clumsy strike toward his chest. Jake leaned back and let the blade pass in front of his face. He was so close that the heat from the blade should have burned his skin, but he did not seem to notice. Why would you not fall, Vera? Gasped. Jake kept circling. I could ask you the same thing. I am a Keithan warrior. I have trained my entire life for combat, so have I. Vera let out a harsh laugh. You have done nothing. You stand there and walk in circles. This is not training. This is not skill. Jake shrugged. It is a different kind of skill. She attacked again. Her blade cut through the air. Jake stepped aside. She stumbled forward and almost fell. Her legs were failing her. The crowd began to whisper. They had never seen a Kethan commander stumble. They had never seen one struggle to stand. Vera planted her blade in the ground and leaned on it. Her chest heaved. Her scales were wet with sweat. She did not even know her species could sweat this much. What is happening to me? She said more to herself than to Jake. Jake stopped moving. He stood about 20 ft away. His hands relaxed at his sides. He was breathing faster now, but his body still looked strong, still looked ready. Your species, Jake said calmly, is built for power, fast attacks, quick kills. You burn energy like a fire burns wood, hot and bright. Vera looked up at him. My species is different, Jake continued. We are not the fastest. We are not the strongest, but we can keep going longer than almost anything else in the universe. He started walking again, slow circles around her. His footsteps were steady and even. On my planet, he said, there is a very old way of hunting. Our ancestors did not have claws or fangs. They did not have armor or venom. So, they learned a different way to catch food. Vera tried to stand straight. Her muscles screamed in protest. They would find an animal, Jake said, a fast animal, one that could run much faster than any human, and they would start following it. He paused and looked at her. The animal would run away. Of course it would. It was faster. It would disappear over the hills, but they humans would keep walking, keep following. They would track its footprints. They would follow its smell. And they would never stop. Vera felt a chill run down her spine. The animal would get tired, Jake continued. It would stop to rest, and then it would see the humans again, coming over the hill. Still walking, still coming, so it would run again, but each time it ran it got a little more tired. And each time it stopped, the humans got a little closer. Jake stopped walking. He stood in front of her, just out of reach. This could go on for hours, sometimes days. The animal would run and rest, run and rest, but the humans never stopped. They just kept walking, steady, patient, until finally the animal could not run anymore. Vera stared at him. Her yellow eyes were wide. That is what you are doing to me, she whispered. Jake nodded. You are fast. You are strong, but you burn hot and bright. I burn slow. Vera tried to lift her blade. Her arm would not obey. Weapon fell from her fingers and clattered on the ground. The plasma blade flickered and went dark. The crowd gasped. Vera dropped to one knee. Her body was shaking. Every muscle in her body was screaming for rest. She had fought in dozens of battles. She had killed enemies that were twice her size. But she had never felt this empty. How? She asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. How can such a weak species have such strength? Jake looked down at her. There was no pride in his eyes, no anger, just calm understanding. We are not weak, he said. We are just strong. In a different way. Your strength is like lightning, powerful and fast. Our strength is like water, slow and steady, and water, commander, can wear down any stone. Very tried to stand. Her legs gave out. She fell forward and caught herself with her hands. The arena was completely silent. Thousands of aliens watched as the greatest warrior of the Kethan Empire knelt on the ground, unable to rise, unable to fight, unable to even lift her weapon, and the human stood above her, barely tired, his knife still untouched. On his belt, Torek stood in the stands. With his mouth open, he could not believe what he was seeing. None of them could. Jake took a slow breath and looked around the arena. Then he looked back at Vera. Do you yield? He asked. Quietly, Vera closed her eyes. The word felt like poison in her mouth. She had never said it before. She had never even thought it, but her body had no more to give. She started, and then she collapsed completely, her face pressed against the cold metal floor. The arena erupted into chaos. The arena exploded with noise. Aliens screamed and shouted. Some stood up and pointed. Others pushed toward the exits, afraid of what might happen next. Guards from both sides rushed toward the arena floor. Vera lay on the ground. She was still conscious, but her body refused to move. Every muscle had given up. Every drop of Energy was gone. She could hear her own heartbeat pounding in her ears like a drum she had lost. The thought burned through her mind like fire. She had never lost, not once in her entire life, and now she lay in the dirt, in front of thousands of witnesses, defeated by a creature half her size, with no armor and no real weapon. The shame was worse than any wound. She heard footsteps coming toward her, slow, steady, the same rhythm she had been hearing for the past 30 minutes. Human was approaching. In Kethan culture, there was only one thing that happened next. The winner would deliver the killing blow. That was the law. That was honor. You did not let your enemy live to feel shame. You gave them a clean death. Vera closed her eyes and waited for the end. The footsteps stopped beside her. Get up, Vera opened her eyes. Jake Miller stood above her. His hand was extended toward her. Palm open, fingers relaxed. She stared at his hand like it was something from another world. What are you doing? She asked. Her voice was rough and broken. I said get up. Jake did not move his hand. The fight is over. You need rest. The Kolthan guards had reached the edge of the arena floor. They stood in a line, weapons ready, waiting to see what the human would do. Tarek was among them. His face was pale. Kill me, Vera said. Jake raised an eyebrow. No, you must. That is the law. The winner takes the life of the loser. That is your law, not mine. Vera felt anger mix with her confusion. You mock me. Offering mercy is the greatest insult in my culture. It means your enemy was not worth killing. It means they were so weak that even their death has no value. Jake lowered himself to one knee so he could look her in the eyes. His face was calm and serious. I am not mocking you, he said. I am not insulting you, and I do not think you are weak. Then why spare me? Jake was quiet. For a moment, around them the crowd had gone silent again. Everyone was watching, everyone was listening. Because Jake said slowly, killing you would be the wrong kind of victory. Very did not understand. There is only one kind of victory. The enemy falls, you stand. That is victory. Jake shook his head. On my planet we learned something a long time ago. Greatest victories do not come from destroying your enemies. They come from changing them. He extended his hand. Again, you are strong, Commander. Stronger than almost anyone I have ever faced. You have skills and knowledge that took you a lifetime to build. Why would I want to destroy that? Vera stared at him. If I kill you, Jake continued, I gain nothing. Your people will hate us. They will want revenge. More fighting, more death. The cycle will never end. He leaned closer. But if I let you live, something different can happen. You can go back to your people and tell them what you learned today. You can teach them that strength is not just about claws and armor. You can help them understand that there are other ways to be powerful. Vera felt something strange happening inside her chest. It was like a wall was cracking. A wall she had built over many years. Wall made of pride and certainty. You would trust me to do that? She asked. After I tried to kill you, after I insulted your entire species. Jake smiled slightly. Humans are good at trust, sometimes too good. We trust people who hurt us. We trust enemies who say they want to change. Sometimes it goes wrong. Sometimes we get burned, but we keep doing it anyway. Why? Because sometimes it goes right, and when it does, it is worth all the times it went wrong. Vera looked at his hand again. It was just flesh, soft and weak. compared to her scales. But somehow, right now it looked like the strongest thing in the arena, slowly, painfully. She reached up and took it. Jake's grip was firm. He pulled her up off the ground and helped her stand. Her legs were shaking. She had to lean on him to stay upright. The crowd did not know how to react. Some cheered, some booed, most just watched in stunned silence. Took rushed forward with the other guards. "Commander, are you injured? Do you need medical attention?" Vera waved him away. Weakly, "I'm not injured, I am just she." Search for the right word. Empty, huh? She looked at Jake. They were standing close now. She towered over him even while leaning on his shoulder for support. "Why did you really spare me?" she asked quietly, so only he could hear. Jake looked up at her. His tired eyes held something she had not seen before. Not pity, not pride, something warmer. "Because I could see it in your eyes," he said. "During the fight, you were not just angry, you were curious. You wanted to understand how I was doing what I was doing. You wanted to learn." He paused. "People who want to learn can change, and people who can change should get the chance to." Vera felt the wall inside her crack a little more. She had come to this arena expecting to prove human weakness. Instead, she had discovered something that shook everything she believed. These soft creatures with their dull teeth and thin skin carried a strength inside them that had no name in her language, and she wanted to understand it. "Jake Miller," she said slowly, "I think you are a very strange human." Jake smiled. "I get that a lot, and for the first time in her life." Commander Vera, champion of 43 star systems, laughed, not a grinding, cruel laugh, a real one. The days after the duel were strange and busy. Messages flew back and forth across the galaxy. News reporters came to Nexus 7 from dozens of star systems. Everyone wanted to know more about the human who had defeated the unbeatable Kethan commander. But Jake Miller did not like attention. He gave one short interview, said the fight was not that special, and went back to drinking his coffee near the wall. The peace negotiations started again. But this time, everything was different. The Kilthan delegation, which had been rude and dismissive before, now listened carefully to everything the humans said. They asked questions. They took notes. They no longer laughed or looked down at the human ambassadors. Ambassador Rachel Torres noticed the change immediately. She worked quickly to take advantage of it. Within a week, she had drafted a new trade agreement. Within 2 weeks, the first steps toward a real alliance were being discussed. But the biggest change was in Vera. She spent the first 2 days in the medical bay recovering her strength. The doctors told her that her body had used up energy reserves that normally lasted for months. She had pushed herself further than any Kethan warrior had ever been pushed. When she finally left the medical bay, she did something that surprised everyone. She went to find Jake. He was sitting alone in the station's small garden. It was not much of a garden, just a few plants and a fountain that made a soft bubbling sound, but Jake seemed to like it there. Vera sat down on the bench across from him. She was still weak. Her movements were slow and careful. "I wanted to ask you something," she said. Jake nodded. "Go ahead." "That day in the arena, you said your people learned to turn enemies into friends. You said that was better than destroying them." "I remember." Vera looked down at her hands. Her black scales had lost some of their shine. She looked older, somehow more tired. "I have Been thinking about those words, she said. My entire life I was taught that strength means domination. It means standing above others. It means making them fear you. She looked up at him, but you showed me something different. You had complete power over me. I was on the ground. I could not move. You could have done anything, and you chose to help me stand. Jake listened quietly. That is a kind of strength I do not understand. Very continued. It goes against everything I was taught, and yet when I think about it, it feels more real than anything I learned before. Jake smiled slightly. It takes time to get used to. How do you do it? How do you trust people who were just trying to kill you? Jake thought about the question for a long moment. The fountain bubbled softly behind him. We have a word for it, he finally said. We call it stubborn hope. Stubborn hope, yes. It means hoping for good things even when everything tells you not to. It means believing that people can change even when they have given you no reason to believe it. It means refusing to give up on the possibility of something better. Vera repeated the words quietly. Stubborn hope. It does not always work. Jake admitted. Sometimes people disappoint you. Sometimes they hurt you even after you trusted them. But every once in a while someone surprises you. They become better than they were, and that makes all the disappointments worth it. Vera sat with those words for a long time. The garden was quiet. The plants swayed gently in the recycled air. I want to learn more, she finally said, about humans, about this stubborn hope. I want to understand how you think. Jake raised an eyebrow. What did you have in mind? I would like to request a transfer to serve as military liaison to the human embassy, if you will accept me. Jake stared at her, then he laughed a real laugh, warm and surprised. You want to work with us? After everything, because of everything, Vera said firmly. You opened my eyes to something new. I cannot close them again. I need to see where this path leads. Jake looked at her for a long moment, then he nodded. I will talk to the ambassador. I think she will say yes. 6 months later, Commander Vera stood before the High Council of the Kethan Empire. They had called her back to explain her actions, to justify her defeat, to answer for the shame she had brought to their people. Vera stood tall. Her scales had regained their shine. Her strength had returned, but something in her eyes was different now. Softer, wiser. You asked me to explain my defeat, she said. I will tell you the truth. The council listened. I thought humans were weak because they lacked claws, scales, and venom. I measured them by our standards and found them wanting, but I was measuring the wrong things. She paused. Their strength is not in what they carry on their bodies. It is in what they carry inside them. Patience, endurance, and something else, something I did not have a word for until a human taught it to me. The council leaned forward. They call it stubborn hope. Vera said, it is the belief that any enemy can become a friend, that any war can become a peace. They do not fight to destroy. They fight to preserve. They do not seek victory through death. They seek victory through change. She stood even taller. I was not defeated by a human. I was taught by one. And I believe if we are wise enough to listen, they can teach us all. The council was silent for a long time. Finally, the eldest member spoke. And what would you have us do, Commander? Vera smiled. It was a new kind of smile, one that Jake would have recognized. I would have us learn, she said. I would have us hope, And far away on a small space station at the edge of known space, Jake Miller sat in a garden drinking his coffee, watching the stars. He did not know that he had changed the course of an empire. He was just glad the meeting was finally